Well, this just in regarding Mr. Kerry Luc Lemieux, a.k.a. Miss Kayla Lemieux, that teacher at Oakville Trafalgar High School who is now conducting shop classes while sporting enormous fake breasts. Could it be that Mr. Lemieux is not truly transitioning into a woman, but rather is exacting a measure of revenge against the uber-woke educrats employed at the Halton District School Board? Consider this recent post on social media, which may or may not be true. Quote, "This dude is gaming the system, and Anon here yesterday was in this dude's class. This teacher was almost fired for toxic masculinity last year, as well as not embracing woke culture. He dropped red pills to his class, such as how silly gender-neutral bathrooms are. The school board hates him. He's now upping the ante to exploit the very clown world the school and society itself has created. His long game is most likely to get fired and then sue for discrimination. There is no other explanation, no better way to troll clown world than to be an over-the-top caricature of a woman," end quote. Well, like I said, folks, there's no way to prove this information is true. I did reach out again via email to Mr. Lemieux, but he has yet to respond. Besides, if this is indeed a prank, why would he out himself in the first place? But for what it's worth, it sounds to me entirely plausible that this is a prank. Indeed, if it is a matter of fact that Mr. Lemieux ran afoul of the HDSB last year over so-called toxic masculinity, what a brilliantly devious way to exact a measure of revenge by becoming an over-the-top female caricature under the guise that he's actually transitioning into a woman. Transgenderism is a sacred cow for those on the woke left. To even question the issue is an act of transphobia. Secondly, Mr. Lemieux is a shop teacher. He works with his hands. He builds things. He's not some artsy-fartsy, useless gender studies professor. It just strikes me that he is someone who is part of the blue-collar demographic and as such might not necessarily be down with the revolution vis-a-vis radical transgenderism and toxic masculinity. Third, consider how he is routinely breaching workshop safety etiquette, i.e. those pendulous breasts protruding so close to circular saws, the wearing of long sleeves, the hair flowing freely and not in a bun, etc. He knows this is offside. So it's almost as if he wants to have a showdown with his school board masters, given that they have no issue whatsoever when it comes to his freakish costumes and his enormous fake boobs. Finally, if Lemieux was transitioning in a genuine fashion, why would anyone, for that matter, make such a grotesque spectacle of it? I imagine most trans people simply want to blend in with the other gender and not draw an inordinate amount of attention to themselves by dressing up as an over-the-top drag queen, which is precisely what Mr. Lemieux is doing these days. Thus, I'm personally betting this is indeed an elaborate prank designed to take the piss out of the HDSB. And if that is not the case, my only other theory is that Mr. Lemieux is mentally ill and that he should receive psychiatric treatment as soon as possible. Still, if this is an elaborate stunt against wokeism in our schools, then perhaps Mr. Lemieux is more of a hero than a villain, wouldn't you say? For he has exposed how ludicrous the HDSB is when it comes to accommodating radical transgenderism. That's because the HDSB isn't accommodating a trans teacher. No, they are perhaps accommodating a practical joker. And the joke's on them. Bottom line, if this is indeed the case, well played, sir, or ma'am, or whatever. Can't wait to see how this story evolves in the weeks and months ahead. For Rebel News, I'm David the Menzoid Menzies. Hey folks, are you tired of the nonsense happening at Oakville Trafalgar High School? Then please go to nofetishteachers.com. That's nofetishteachers.com. Sign our petition, and hey, we've even provided email links to trustees. Give them a piece of your mind.